10 random Scryfall cards rated, reviewed, given a number. Day 3. What's the first card, baby? Let's go. It's going to be Regal Force, everyone. Originally printed in Eventide. It's actually still kind of a couple of bucks for this card. Let's check it out. 7 mana, 4 and 3 green for a 5/5 elemental. And when it comes into play, you draw a card for each green creature you control. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful effect, dude. That's pretty okay, and like it's just an ETB trigger. You don't have to have cast it or anything like that. So reanimation's cool, ramping's cool, and 7 mana is about where you want to be as a ramp target. Green commander decks can play a bunch of different 7 drops. It's not like always recommended, but your ramping kid, you can play a few of these, and this is gonna draw you like anywhere between 1, I guess, is the floor on it. But still, it's probably gonna draw you realistically between like 4 and 7 cards, but there are obviously outliers where you draw like 15 cards in your token stack or whatever. So pretty sweet little guy here. Massive bomb when you can actually get him down. Kind of an old school feeling commander card, you know what I mean? I don't know if we've sort of gone past the power level of this dude, but if we have, it's a little bit scary. It's a good first card of the day, though. All in all, we've had good luck with first cards of the day so far in the series. I'm going to give Regal Force like a good solid 6.764. Somewhere in that range. Just a good solid fat green dude, man. But we'll move on to Putrid Cyclops, only ever printed in Future Sight. And never again. Pretty ironic. This is 3 mana, 2 and a black for a 3/3 zombie Cyclops. And when it comes into play, you scry 1 and reveal the top card of your library. Cyclops gets -X until end of turn, where X is that card's from converted mana cost. So a 3 mana 3/3 with a downside. I guess you get a scry. You do get a scry off of it. So I guess a 3 mana 3/3 that scries 1, and then that scry is kind of a downside. Just bad. You can't really justify this card's existence in the year 2020X. It's 2030X. That's when you're watching this video. But anyway, let's go ahead and give this like a 1. Sure, I was going to say 1 point something. I think 1 is actually correct. Let's move on to Mountain. Okay, our first basic land of the series. I think the basic land should get a 5. They're better than a lot of Magic cards. You don't necessarily have to include them in your deck, but there's obviously like plenty of reasons to do so. Even if you have all the requisite non-basics for your commander deck or whatever, you have 35 to 38 non-basics that fit perfectly in your deck. I think it's still advisable to play basic lands for a number of reasons. Your cards will search for them. Your opponents might Field of Ruin affect you or something like that. It's like you still need to play bases. They're good Magic cards, dude. So a 5. Solid 5 for Mountain, as a lot of other YouTubers would say. So let's move on to, what is it, the 4th card already? Something like that. Matca Rioters. Have I ever read this card in my life? It is from Conflux, so I must have seen it. It's 3 mana, 2 and a green for a star. Ooh, the always impressive star human warrior with domain. Its PT are equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. So a 3 mana 5/5 is what it is supposed to be. What do you get, a vanilla 5/5 for all the work you've done? You get, come on, that's the thanks I get, is a vanilla 5/5. I can't see myself playing all of these boys. All these boys. Actually, I think that's probably a lady in the foreground on the left. It doesn't matter. Either way, I'm going to give, is that Tyvar in the back right? Just the far right of this art? It looks like Tyvar to me. Either way, none of this matters, and I'm wasting time on a card that I don't think anybody ever knew existed, but I guess that's half of the fun of this series for a lot of people. Hopefully, if anybody's watching it. So I'm going to go ahead and give this like a 2. So 2.3? Sure, 2.3. Let's move on to Skywing Aven, everybody. This is 3 mana. It's originally from Torment. Let's look at that one. It's going to look cool with the border. This is 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a 2/1 Boyd Soldier with flying. Discard a card from your hand to return Aven to its owner's hand. So this looks like a poopy Magic card, but it's actually kind of good. It feels like an Urtai's Familiar or something like that, or like a Blinking Spirit, one of those like super annoying creatures that's hard to get rid of forever. But, paying 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer over and over is pretty bad. Like in most games of Magic. The secret to this is that it just lets you discard a card for free. It's this free discard outlet. Do it as many times a turn as you want to, Haas. Just let go, And I like that about it. But not every card like that is going to be good. Like Wild Mongrel doesn't see all the play in the world, and it does that. What is it? Noose Constrictor, I think it's called. It does basically the same thing. Just discard a card whenever you want to. It gets like a +1/+1 counter, or PT boost till end of turn, or something like that. And those cards don't see all the play in the world just because they're free discard outlets. So why am I to believe that this will? I guess it's in a better color than a lot of these, discard a card whenever you want to. So there's different tricks available to you, I guess. There's that. Either way, I see a line of text like this and I get slightly more excited than I should. So I'm going to give the card a 4. A 3.7. Let's give it it doesn't even deserve that, does it? A 3.4. Let's give it a 3.4. That's what I meant to say the whole time. Up next, let's see what we get. It's Shared Animosity, originally printed in Morningtide. Okay, it's $2.11 from Morningtide and much, much cheaper from everywhere else. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. This is sick, dude. Like, I played a lot during, again, Lorwyn block. So I played a lot during Morningtide. But again, I mostly played competitive, and I played Fairies, the blue-black Fairies deck. So that's probably why I've never really seen this card, is because it was almost certainly not played in the competitive environment whatsoever. But, when you look at it for, casual commander play, yeah, dude, you can cook. You can cook a whole meal for 4, if you know what I'm saying. With this card, this is pretty sweet in any, typal deck or whatever the kids are saying nowadays. It's pretty sweet if your creature type matters to you. This is a nice little card to include in your deck, dude. Your guys are going to end up getting +5/+0, easy, I think, a lot of the time. So, I don't know, dude. Kind of into it. I'm a little bit into this, man. So, I'm going to give this a 6.3 or something. It's narrow in that your creature type has to matter, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe you just incidentally have 60% of your creatures are humans. So when your humans swing, they get +3/+. I don't know, dude. I'm into it. An Orcish Oriflamme, but a billion times better. But I guess that's not really saying much. It's still 6.2. Sure, I'm sticking with it, man. Let's move on to the next card, though. It's Verdant Field. 3 mana, 2 and a green for an enchant land. Ooh, an aura that enchants a land. Enchanted land has tap. Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. This costs 3 mana. This card's booty, dude. It was only ever printed in Prophecy, which is known as one of the worst sets of all time. Homelands gets a really, really bad rap, and a couple of other sets. But man, for a while there, I thought that when I was actually playing, when Prophecy came out, I thought the Prophecy might usurp Homelands as the worst set of all time. Just people hate this thing. And when you see cards like this, it's pretty easy to see why it costs so much mana, dude. It's ridiculous. The kinds of commander decks that are actually going to use this card are going to be super few and far between, especially again at that rate. So I can't give this more than a 2 for creativity's sake. Maybe you have something to do with this, but I won't be seen in the same room with it. So let's move on to the next card. It's going to be Dead Drop. Dead Drop, everybody. Named after a drag queen dance move, which I honestly love. It's awesome. This is 10 mana, kind of. 9 and a black for a sorcery with Delve. Each card you exile from your yard while casting the spell pays for 1. Target player sacrifices 2 creatures. This was only ever printed in Khans of Tarkir and is still only 5 cents, which is kind of surprising. A little bit, right? If it was each opponent sacks 2 creatures, I think we'd be really talking in Commander, but still, I think the cards that take out 2 permanents in Commander at the same time, cards that you only spend 1 slot in your deck, but they take out multiple things, are kind of at a premium. And there are commander decks that could very easily delve this card to the stack for 1 black mana. So again, narrow is a word I'll probably use a lot on this series in terms of reviewing cards for casual commander, but I don't know, dude. I've built decks that could play this card. And even if you're playing it for 2 mana, it's still a pretty good rate for what you're doing with it. But I know it's going to sit in your hand like a grapefruit, 9 times out of 10. It's going to be 4 turns in a row where you just can't do anything with Dead Drop. So, but I guess that's true to form. You can't just Dead Drop at the beginning of your routine. You save your Dead Drop for your big final move. Okay. So I guess that makes sense. Anyway, card also has really macabre art. Just, I guess, but I also like the flavor text. What do you do to play this card more is all I'm saying. But yeah, this is probably a 4.3 in all actuality. I'm trying to talk myself into it, but I can't succeed. So I certainly didn't succeed in talking you into it. But yeah, that gas was for Uncle Istvan, baby. It's Uncle Istvan. This is actually one of my favorite Magic cards of all time. 4 mana, 1 and 3 black for a 1/3 human. I know it says creature. I know the errata is human, but The card seriously says summon Uncle Istvan. So he should have been a legendary. This guy should be legendary. But anyway, all damage done to Uncle Istvan by creatures is reduced to 0. He has an axe. This is a crazy old man that lives in the woods, and he's got a bloody axe and like skulls hanging from the axe and bones hanging from his belt. And like he's skinned some sort of animal. He's wearing its hide. He's got this giant beard. He's crazy eyes. He's so cool. You have no idea. Like I started playing Magic in 1995, and Uncle Istvan is one of the first like 20 Magic cards I ever laid eyes on, and I was like, it's a good game. I think I'm going to play this game for a while, at least. And here we are like 20 years later. Something like that. And so, 30 years later? God, I'm so old. It is literally 30 years later. Next year. But Uncle Istvan's probably like pretty bad. That's all a bunch of like wind up. And then on the release, I have to say that Uncle Istvan's like pretty bad Magic card, you know. But I'm going to, because it's my series, I can do whatever I want to. And like I don't have to care. I'm just going to give Uncle Istvan an 8. Even though he's not worth that in a million years. If I was going to not like meme score this, I would give it like a 3.6. But you cannot stop me from giving it at the very least like a 6.66. A 6.66 for Uncle Istvan. I love you, buddy. I love you, Bubby. We call him Bubby around here. Last card of the day is Fairy Duelist, everybody. This is 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 1/2 Fairy Rogue with flash and flying. When it ETBs, a creature an opponent controls gets -2, -0 till end of turn. It is a bad Magic card. This right here, I guess it's got like 2 decent creature types. Don't talk yourself into it, Deb. I'm over here like, well, flash, you know, not too shabby. It is pretty shabby. It's actually super shab, my guy. So don't be like me and just want to like every Magic card. Actually do that. Because like I said, I've been playing for 3 decades. Really, in 4 decades, I've been playing Magic, and I can still get excited about Magic cards. It's because I'm not a jaded weirdo. So honestly, do be like me and stay excited about Magic cards and try to see the good in everything in the world. It's how you stay a happy person, honestly. So we're living in a crap storm right now, so you got to try to stay positive. Anyway, all that said, I can't be too positive about Fairy Duelist. I'm positive this card is like a 2. And that's it for the day. Watch more of these videos. Subscribe. They come out every day. Bye.